Good day, good love, good light, illuminators and way showers. Thank you so much once again for being with us as we share once again these Wednesdays with Wendy and Bree, expressing ourselves in our highest joy and excitement, the languages of lights, where we bring to you the immeasurable, I'm losing my mind here, infinite, I want to say the words that are coming to my mind are secrets of the soul. So there we have it. It was like I was getting some information and I was like, okay, what are they saying? And that's what I was hearing, where we are exploring the secrets of our soul. And that's actually very pertinent right now. And because really that is how I feel and how we feel, that by sharing these beautiful languages, whether it's hand signing, singing, toning, whether it's expressing ourselves through oracle cards or messages, channeled messages from our guides, all of this is information that's coming through to us through source light, source energy, of which we are all a part of. So I wanted to thank all of you once again for being with us, and on this very auspicious day. What an exciting day as we share today 1/22/2020. So we've got this 22/22 energy, and today's date equals 9. And before we get into a little bit of that, I wanted to once again reiterate that this is an open forum for all of us to share interest in light languages, whether you speak them or don't, whether you would like to learn more about it, we share activations with each other, we share experiences. We're here from all over the world, representing many, many places and countries and languages. And you can come in with or without your camera if you like. It's a place to feel safe and secure about expressing ourselves in a way where we really are maybe telling the secrets of our soul and learning more about our souls, the fragments that we are, this crystalline being that is a reflection of all that we are and all that we're discovering ourselves to be, and how we relate with our multidimensionality through light languages. So this is a Zoom room. It's open to the public. I would like to say hello to Bree if she wants to just say hello and let everybody know how they can come and join the room. And thanks once again, Bree, for being with us and being our delightful, lovely moderator. Thank you so much once again. And it is also her excitement to share and speak light languages and to help us all express them out into the world, in which she helps a lot of us do that, not just me, but a lot of us. So I wanted to thank her for her work in doing that, and love your colors today, girl. So yeah, if you guys want to join in, hey Bree, let everybody know how they can hop in.
Okay. Hi. You guys can go on to Wendy's blog, which I have just now posted the participation links on her blog. And I'm going to post it right now in the YouTube live chat. So if you want to go to her blog page, you can either join into the Zoom room with us with a device, if you have like a smartphone or a computer, or you want to come into Zoom with your video and audio turned on or off and just hang out in the room and type with us. Or you can join with a phone call by dialing the phone number on the participation invite that I posted. So I'll put that in the YouTube live chat. And like Wendy said, this is a space for us to be able to discuss together what light languages do for us, what we experience, and to speak light languages or show them or sing them, however they come to you. This is kind of just a place where this is our highest joy and excitement and passion, and we absolutely love it. And it's changed our lives. It's changed my life. I met Wendy through speaking, being interested in light languages and thinking that she was had been out there teaching this for years. And then I found back in 2016, at the beginning, when I first met her, that she was also a little bit on her journey and had not actually been out as long as I thought she had, but she was posting videos every single day for many years. And just last week, we celebrated on January 16th, Wendy's 5-year anniversary being on YouTube with her Languages Lights channel, which is super exciting because, I mean, wow, 5 years takes a lot of effort to keep something going consistently for that amount of time. So thank you, Wendy, for being willing to answer the call to share these languages that come to you and your experiences with them. So that's what we talked about here today.
Thank you, Bree. And it's been exciting. It's been once again an exciting ride. Thanks to all of you who joined us with us last week on Wednesday and again on Friday on Awake TV as we extended the celebration of 5 years. And I'm really excited to be here in Florida now with Dave and my new world, my new relationship, and how this has all been so wonderfully. The synchronicities, of course, because anybody who knows me knows how much I love the idea of harmony and synchronicity. And I actually saw something really funny about synchronicities today on Facebook, which I forgot about. So there was actually just a funny thing that I reshared, but it was just about how it's once you get into the flow of your soul and your passion and your joy, it's you begin to understand the synchronicities are just simply the rule and not the exception, and that every single thing is a message. And I had to laugh today too. So I wanted to say hi to everybody first of all, and thanks again everybody last week for such a wonderful hangout. And again, once again, we're like, oh, we're just going to keep it short. And then 3 hours later. So, but it was really a lot of fun. So I wanted to thank all of you who helped celebrate and participate with me. And to all of you who have been inspired to start your own channels, to get out there and express your own unique brand, if you will, your own unique alchemization of your work with your light languages, and however it is that you're using them, whether it's just for personal, private use, maybe some of you are just speaking them and using it for yourself, or maybe for healing others. I wanted to remind everybody too that there is no boundary to love or to healing, and there is no boundary to light language. And all of you have really reached out through the ethers to express yourselves, and the love that you have all sent to me has really been beyond the boundaries of physical. And I want you all to know that how important it is, that how much I appreciate your knowing you're all out there. And I had to laugh. I was telling Dave that I remember when I was young wanting to be like a journalist and an anchor person. And I thought how weird it would be to just sit and talk to a camera and to how do you do that? How do you just sit and talk to a camera and pretend there's people out there? But once I made my first video, and the very first comment that came about from the video, and everyone that I've met since, and all of you that have been a part of my life and commenting and sharing your light languages and being inspired to do it yourselves, all of you have it inspires me to continue, and it changed everything about the way I saw my world, and how every time somebody sends a reflection back to me by way of comment or by way of hanging out in these hangouts, bringing or being out there doing it, and letting me know even that I or someone else is inspired through light languages to share your soul, your secrets of your soul, the stories of source that we all are. And it helps me to do that next video. And it reminded me that all of you are out there. Every single time then, from that point forward, I knew that there was someone listening. And then I realized, as I started doing more of this, that, well, even from the beginning, truly, I was guided to do the first video by my guides out in the forest one day, out in the woods. And that from that moment forward, though, they told me you're not alone, and you never have been alone, and that you're have more support and guidance than you ever thought you did. And that also made me able to make that first video, because I knew that even if no one out there in YouTube land was watching, that at least I knew that even that they said to me, it's about you just putting yourself out there, sharing your passion, moment by moment, as far as you can take it, and do not have any expectation of where this is going to take you. And I'll tell you, I did not have any expectation. And here I cannot believe it's 5 years later. And all of your feedback, all of you, whether it's been sessions or private messages, comments, emails, all of it. Every one of you has been an inspiration to me to continue to do this, even when we're busy and tired and have lots of other things. And yet here we are. And thanks to Bree again, she's really busy and she's got all kinds of new things in her life as well. And so to once again be here with us, and all of you out there, it's really exciting to me. I want to say hi to everybody. You guys are so awesome. You're out there waiting as we're coming on. Heather, wow, Heather, it's so great to see you. I do hope you can come in the Hangouts and hang out with me again. I've missed you. So great to see you out there again. Jody, Reiki Medium, thanks. Oh, 333, there we go. Thanks so much, you guys, for being out there. And Angela, thanks again. You guys are so great that you're out there. Oh, Sandra, hey, Sandra. And Beverly, hey, Beverly, good to see you again. So yeah, if you guys are able to hop on in, or if you can't come in, or if you want to come in and have to leave your sound off and just want to chime in when you can, that's fine. But I wanted to thank all of you guys for being here and all your contributions every week. And there's so much information that I'm always guided to share with you all. And it begins really with our synchronicities. And I had to laugh today too, with all the 22s and the 20s and the 22s. I always see it as 11, 11, and 11, and 11. And then I had to laugh today because we had some errands to run, and at the store, Dave comes out of the store and says, guess what, the receipt? And I have it right here. And the total was 1111. So, and these are the things where we laugh about, where we're like, you just can't make this up. You just can't make it up. So it's very interesting how numbers and numerology and sacred geometry come into play so deeply into all of this, because geometry is the language of the first light. When there was nothing else but what we consider, what would you consider the blueprint?
Look at the time.
Oh, and look, oh my gosh, and the timestamp on it is 11/32/33. Okay. That's pretty weird, because that is also 11/11. Okay, so that's really weird, you guys, because 32 and 33 is also okay. So see what, and I didn't even notice that he just did, and the receipts.
Beck just said there was 11 people on when you said.
Oh, hey Beck. Hey Sandra, that's okay. It's good to see you. I'm so happy that you're here. It's really good to see you. Hey, if you guys can just stop in for 5 minutes and you got to go, or you just stop in to say hi. I love it that you're here. Every minute, every time, every moment is magical to me. So I wanted to thank all of you. Beck, thanks so much for you coming in and hanging out with us. We have so much fun. And I just absolutely adore all of the synchronicities that I have with you, and our experiences. Listening to you is like listening to myself tell my own story. So it's really exciting. And we were talking about geometry and numbers, and how it really is like how would you, I don't know, maybe somebody else can explain it better than I can, but it's like everything can equate to a geometric equation. And in science and physics, we understand that everything can be represented in numbers and mathematics, of which I don't like, and he does. and how we begin to understand how we're unraveling the mysteries of the universe and the secrets of our souls, and how we, as we vibrate even in these numbers. And one of the things that resonated deeply with me when I very first started light languages was when I started creating symbols. And so many of those symbols have come, they've helped me. How do I want to say this? Having created these symbols now, and what I have understood as light code arrays, light code activations, sacred geometry, sacred symbols, and how their connection to sound and matter and mathematics, and that thought creates matter, and that numbers are a numeric sequence can take you to another place in the universe. How a coordinate, how a number can be represented in physical reality, how all of this relates to us and our body and our cellular structure and sacred geometry, and even all of the frequencies and everything related to that, and how all of it's connected, and how light languages helps activate that within us, and how many of us have began to see the direct connection between these symbols that we're drawing and art that we're creating intuitively, yet how these seem to be repeating themselves over and over again throughout what we call history, in what we call up and down line or linear time. And how we can look at ancient languages, and Bree and I've talked a lot about this, about the beginning of languages, and how light language can be reinterpreted, I guess is what I'm hearing, through a physical form, which could be a letter, a symbol, a structure, if you will, and how that was the beginning of how we began to actually speak, and how we began to write, and how we began to create words. And those of us who connect to the ideas and the archetypes and the gods and goddesses of that idea. And so of course, right now I'm being brought right back into Isis energy, because all of that was at the beginning of all of that, which I've been just enveloped in the last several days. So there's a lot of that, that information swirling around with me. But the idea is that even when we're looking at and studying, say, hieroglyphs, and we're still learning the secrets of the pyramids and the energies behind that, and how, as we become multidimensional, we're beginning to access that information more fully and intuitively. And how accessing, even when we're when we're being exposed to these even repeating numbers, like today I'm seeing the 2222 and the 333, and how when we begin to relate to this in a more metaphysical way, we begin to understand the structure of reality, and how it breaks down the ability to, some of this is such high information. What I'm hearing, which may not even make sense to many of you, is they're telling me that it actually lets us like disseminate thought itself, and how thought itself can become numeric, and how that's connected to how a numeric sequence can relate to a thought, can relate to actually creating physical reality. And I know this is actually nowhere near where I was even going to talk about today, because I have no idea even where this is all going.
I have a question about that.
Yeah, so go ahead.
So we know that we can measure, for instance, like the frequency of a specific emotion and put it onto a vibration. That's a very good way to put this into words. So then what you're saying is it would be essentially measuring the frequency of, like, the vibration of a thought, and being able to assign a frequency to that.
Well, now I get that feeling that I get when I get that confirmation feeling, which is something I like to tell everybody about, because I don't always talk about those things, is that when we get that reflection of, when you get that answer that is in the right frequency, I get that confirmation. Like I can feel it within my heart chakra, my solar plexus. It's like that knowing that this is part of why we're talking about this, because it elicits that type of thinking. And so that was a very astute way of that, which makes me happy, because you're understanding exactly what they're trying to say. And and you actually said it better than I did. Hey, Beverly, good to see you again. Even your last name, Beverly, is a synchronicity. So I wanted to, well, is there any, I just wanted to see if there was any other comments or anything. Beck says, I've had a lot of celestial energy, Mother Mary, Mother Magdalene come through the past few days. And you know what? I didn't say this to you last night, but that was another thing that came to me last night, was this Mary, this Mother Mary energy, and this morning again. And it's interesting how I was actually really tapped into the Isis energy, but she was explaining, and I actually pulled a card from my Isis deck, and it was about connecting with our angels, but she was the one it was connecting through with. And so it was very interesting that the Isis archetype energy, she was also talking to me about the crystalline consciousness, about the Christ consciousness, about and I'm even hearing the 33rd parallel right now, because somebody needs to hear that. So about connecting with your angels. And even Dave made the comment that it's time to stop separating these ideas, that we really are all of these things. And that I think that that's what she was trying to express, even to me personally, and to all of us collectively, is it is time to stop thinking of ourselves as separate fractals, that we're not really gathering anything. We're becoming aware that we're all of these things, and then bringing that energy into the third dimension, and taking our passions to the next level, taking all of that to the next level, and understanding that there absolutely, again, is no separation to any of this. It's just what we believe is separate. And yet she was even explaining how there are parts of the souls of the parts of these souls and these souls and these souls and these souls and the oversouls, and how all of that is connected. And yet in each and every moment, we can be in the frequency of a particular dimensional fractal of ourselves, but it doesn't mean we're gathering ourselves. It's not like we're this crystal that's been split apart that needs to be re-put together. It's that we are having the experience of being separated into little mirrors floating around in space, or having all of these different lives in all these different places and planets and dimensions and physical and non-physical beings, and having all of these other awarenesses and experiences, yet nothing is actually separate. And how even when I've got my journal here, when I began, I started writing these sacred symbols from Sirius that were brought to us again through Bashar, through Daryl Anka. And you can find, and I have links to the event, to this information on my YouTube channel as well, for several videos that I've done. But you guys can find this on the internet. I've shared it a bunch of times. Today's date equals number 9. And so I was guided to share with you guys this number 9 symbol. And today was about receiving. And the symbol for number 9 is about receive. And it almost, when I see this, it actually looks, to me, I've always seen that symbol as like it looks like an antenna to me, like the old TV antennas. Well, they're not old, we still use them, but the television antennas on top of roofs. It reminds me of a satellite. It reminds me of, like when I see it spinning, like a satellite would spin through, and so I see it as receiving information constantly from all of these fractals that we believe are separate parts of ourselves. But yet she was reminding me today, and not just for me, but for Dave as well, that you are part of that. That is, it's who you are, and it's because of what you have, what your highest excitement is in this particular dimensional, this particular parallel reality, which then, if we have to remember, we create them millions of times per second. But again, we also have a collective reality. And so by accessing these symbols, and when I create them, and when we're creating them, when I'm writing them and I'm receiving them and people are looking at them, it literally, they showed me at the very beginning, and I've actually had a couple other channelers refer to this, as well as my guides had said to me, that they're arrays. It's almost like it's a set of codes that, we even talked about this before, earlier, about how you receive it when you need it, and it opens it up when you need it, like time release medicine, if you will. That, and much like light languages does the same thing, where you're getting these activations. And even when I was looking at these symbols and when I'm creating these symbols, they're not necessarily something you may feel or have an experience with today or right now. And they're also showing me right now how it's literally sending and receiving information back and forth between us and our other, and one of the reasons they call them arrays is because that's how they're showing me, is they literally like reach out to our light bodies, our other fractals, those of us that live in those parts of us that our consciousness that are having other realities right now, and right now living other lives and other realities, and even other earth incarnations, if that's the word we want to use right now. We're able to actually see them, and in many spiritual circles, we call it past lives. We call it regression, where I wonder if even the word regress does this idea justice, because it gives us the impression that we're like going backwards, that we're going back in time, or that we're regressing somehow, that we're digressing rather than expanding. And what's happening is we're literally expanding. But we have an experience that it seems as if we're going back in time, or that we're experiencing something on a singular level. But even when we have a past life regression, if we want to use that term, but we understand if everything's right here and now, we're literally just tapping into that other version of ourselves that has an existence right now. Absolutely right now. And this is the next step of understanding our multidimensionality, and that when we can see ourselves as not fragmented, because it's just a thought. It's just a perception. Hey, Beck, good to see you again. It's just a perception that if we continue to see ourselves as pieces, we're slowing down our own process of understanding that it's just an experience that we're in pieces. We are so powerful. We have the ability to experience ourselves as little pieces, even though we're really a complete whole being having an experience that sees itself as little pieces, if that makes any sense. So who else is out? I just wanted to say hi to see who else was out there today. Hey, Lila. Hey, Faye. Oh, wow. Hey, lots of new faces out there. And Empathy. Hey, good to see you. You guys jump in if you don't know how to get in. You can come in, and if you go to my blog, you guys can get the Zoom link, and you can hop in the room if you like, if you weren't sure where that was at. And so yeah, it's good to see you again. And hey, Beverly, how are you doing? Oh, Angela loves your shirt. Yeah, we're in some major Egyptian energy around here. So let me tell you guys, it's like, and one of the things I really wanted to talk about today was something that we have been experiencing, and it was a card that I pulled too, and it was about talismans and what's the word I'm thinking? I can't think today. well, I want to say permission slips, but that's not the word I'm looking for, but, what's the word I'm looking?
Like relics?
Relics. Thank you. Replicas and relics, and the power of replicas and relics. And this is something that's going to be very prevalent in our next nows, Dave and I, because this is something we've been experiencing very powerfully ourselves. And so this really plays into all of that, and how powerful these permission slips, and this is what Bashar has always used them. Anything that gives us the permission to become more aware of our multidimensionality and more of knowing ourselves and all that we are, anything that works is a permission slip to be more, to discover more of that, all that you are. And all of these things that we purchase and bring into our lives, whether it's picking up a stone from the ground, whether it's crystals, whether it's like buying Ankhs and Ark of the Covenant reproductions, and it's all about, if it excites you, there's a reason it's supposed to, it does something for you. And I have discovered, just by playing with this stuff and looking at this stuff and surrounding myself in hieroglyphs and Egyptian energy and Isis energy and Isis cards and all of this stuff, I am literally able to tap into that energy so much more fully because of these permission slips. So I'm and how even, and I'm really excited to bring these cards with you to you guys. And we've been talking about this, and then we were after we went off live. I think it was after we went off live, wasn't it, you guys, where we were talking about the goddess, start doing goddess energy readings and bringing all the God and goddess out in all of us, and really playing with this too, and playing with relics and to bring this energy through in this way has been so very powerful that I wanted to really bring it out in a way I've never brought it out before. And just by reading these cards and looking at this stuff, I have become so activated in the last couple of days. It's like astounding to me, even just by looking at the stuff. So it's very interesting how, even talking about it, I feel very like in the energy. And so many, and the sisterhood, you guys, I'm telling you, this whole sisterhood and brotherhood of light, and this idea of sisterhood in general and stuff that we've been talking about. And then my friend Ray Lee, she posted something yesterday about the 7 sisters, a drawing that she had done. And it was just a very interesting synchronicity about this whole idea of gathering the sisterhood and the brotherhood of the light. It's just been so prevalent in the idea that we, again, see all of these things as separate, you know, our angel parts and this and that and ETs and all of these goddess and God archetypal energies. And then we get into the animal collective energies, and we start to, and then all of these other things, and we start to understand every single bit of those, every single one of those are something that gives us permission to discover more of all that we are. And that's also what Light Languages does for me and so many others. So I wanted to actually start with, I wanted to actually start with some light languages to see if anybody would like to share some light languages, and also maybe share anything that we've talked about. And
there's some questions.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, Bree.
So yeah, maybe let's just talk
let's
about
do
the
that.
questions, and then we can move into sharing some light language.
Sure.
I would love to. So there was a question a little bit earlier, Beck. I'm gonna get back around to that in just a moment here. But where did it go? Faye Robbins said hello and said for 3 days in a row, her sister-in-law keeps on hearing an owl. What can that mean?
Well, that's
all the synchronicities with owls.
We just talked about owls a couple of weeks ago, Faye, and that's very interesting because even Dave bought an owl like candle holder. My sister-in-law bought me an owl bracelet. I got an owl towels. And then it was, when was it? I pulled we were doing a reading not too long ago. And I think, wasn't it on a Friday? Wasn't it on a Friday on Awake TV? And we did a reading, and I had pulled the owl card on purpose because we had so much owl energy. So I would say, if you're not already familiar with, and you guys already, I talk about this in bunches of my videos. look up owl animal totems and animal spirit guides. And if you haven't already, because there's information for you there. And I actually, Dave bought me a really cool new animal spirit deck, which I love so much. So I would encourage you guys too, that you don't need to be an oracle reader in order to buy yourself oracle cards and pull a card for yourself. So this is one of the things I wanted to express to everybody too. Get an oracle deck that has to do with animal cards and animal totems, and pull cards for yourself, because there's messages. The birds yesterday were like these. There's a little pair, a male and female birds out here nesting, and I just love watching them all day. There are messages from them, and we were the eagles, the hawks here, the turkey buzzards. Every single thing is a message. So immediately, the owl almost always represents that you are receiving and sending higher wisdom, that you are being asked to step into higher wisdom, or that you are receiving information from a higher realm, and that there's maybe signs and symbols you need to be paying attention to. Maybe there's that. And this is when we understand the synchronicities are the rule and not the exception. We understand that everything is a message. We begin to say, okay, what is that owl idea telling me? Because it's the archetype, the owl archetype. Is it that here we're talking about 2020, clearer vision, you guys. The owl, they see at night. They can see pretty much every direction. This whole idea of all of us seeing in the dark, that is what I'm feeling about that owl energy, that we're all receiving that idea that we can see in the dark now. And this is why, one of the reasons why I prefer, hey Sarah, I prefer illumination, because to me, when we are beating ourselves up about shadow work, I think it has become this negative connotation, in that no pain, no gain. Shadow work needs to mean that we have to get, and I'm not saying we don't get down to the nitty gritty, but we've come to realize that illumination is what this is all about, where we are illuminating things in our reality that we do not prefer, in order to create the reality that we do prefer, and understand that our thoughts are things and they become our reality. And when we understand that more fully, that's when we have that higher wisdom, seeing that idea of seeing things from the higher perspective. And again, it's a bird, they're the avian collective. They see things from a higher perspective. And so the owl itself has a lot of secret wisdom. And here when we hear the owl, it almost feels like this ancient wisdom coming through. And so if that helps answer your question, I can take it further if you like.
There was also, well, she said, that's awesome. I'm going to tell her, thank you. And also Empathy G, I'm going to call you Empathy G, on YouTube said, what if you see a white butterfly twice in a month when you are alone?
Well, this is another thing that we all need to understand too, is that there is no meaning, there is no inherent meaning to anything. Each of us assign the meaning to everything. There is no way that I can tell you that this means this and this means that. It doesn't really work that way. It's what does it mean to you? And so for me, my immediate instinct, and butterflies have always been a thing with me and my family. For me, they also represent those who have transitioned. They have been a symbol for me. When I see particular butterfly, particular color of butterfly, I know it's a particular family member who's coming to me with a message. So that it could be that for you. The white butterfly for me also always represents, the butterfly always represents complete transformation. So anytime any of us sees a butterfly, it is always a reminder that you are going through that, to remind you that everything changes, every single thing in creation changes, everything is temporary. And there may be at that moment when you're seeing that butterfly, that there's some critical point in your life, there's a critical decision in your life, or that you're going through a transitory period, a major transformation, because there's very few animal collectives represented on Earth, and the butterfly is one of them, that makes this complete transformation to a completely different type of being, from earthbound to then a completely different type of being to then into a winged creature. So that is complete transformation, much like the frog. They go from the tadpole to a complete transformation. So when I think of a white butterfly, and then I would also be asked to ask you, and we're always asked at that time too, what were you thinking about at the time? What were you contemplating? Perhaps you were asking a question, perhaps you were receiving information, perhaps you were thinking about something that maybe wasn't empowering, and that maybe you were being reminded that maybe that's an opportunity to change that to a more empowering thought, which would then also then create a different reality. It literally, when we're creating all these realities moment by moment, they're all different frequencies, and where some of them are very similar, some things have changed a little, some things have changed a lot, but we move into the frequency of that version of the reality we prefer. And everybody else, the versions of everybody else, moves along with that. And that's another thing we need to remember, is those types of things are reminders for us that in those moments we might be being asked, what version of me am I, and what version am I of the people that I'm dealing with, and how, and we do this all the time. But we forget to do it intentionally, you guys. How we ask intentionally, I want to rendezvous with the highest version of, I want to rendezvous and vibrate in my highest version, and in closest proximity to my highest core vibration, highest self, which is your heart. This is why they tell you to heart, that you're also rendezvousing with versions of other people who are a highest version possible that they can be within that reality, if that makes any sense. And we do this a lot because we forget to say, even when we're going somewhere that we don't want to go, say you're going to the doctor or the dentist, or you have a situation or a person that you have to deal with, or we can do a couple of things. We can either ask to rendezvous with their highest version of themselves to facilitate the outcome we prefer, or we can also ask to have this conversation in our dream time. In our dream time, meaning our higher state of consciousness, that we iron out all the details in our dream state. And then when you wake up, a lot of times, what do we hear? Let's sleep on it. Let's sleep on it. Let's sleep on it. The reason we do that is because it gives us the opportunity to have those conversations in our multidimensional state, and then bring that information down when you wake up. And I know that's probably a way bigger answer than you wanted about a white butterfly, but there you have it.
Yay, Wendy!
So there you have it. Channeling at its best, right?
Yeah, it's nice to see Lila here.
Hey, Lila. Hi, everybody. Hey, Beck. Hey, Sarah. I want to say hi to everybody. Anybody? Yeah. Hey, you guys, if you want to speak, raise your hand. Just unmute. Let Bree know. Type in the chat.
Right. Yeah. In Zoom, there's actually a raise hand button. You can click on it to like signify that you have something to say. But speaking of that, let's hop over to Beck before we start sharing light language. Because Beck had posted in the YouTube live chat asking about the 33rd parallel. She hasn't heard about this before. She was asking what it was. Do you want to add anything to that question, Beck? Or anything at all, because you're in the room with us? Hi. Oh, you're muted.
Oh, she's muted.
Should I unmute you?
Yeah.
You can nod. Okay, I'm unmuting. There.
I didn't know. I've got out at Bath, so that's where I was unmuting first. Yeah, just this 33rd parallel. I've been getting tons through this past few days, like loads with numbers, loads about vibration. Massive signs and synchronicities. I had an experience about 2.5, I think it was, I just can't do time, an experience in like astral about 2.5 years ago, and I eventually painted it yesterday, and I feel it ties in with this conversation, but I'm gonna see what this 33rd parallel is first, because I've got a feeling it might have something to do with this.
Well, I don't know a lot about it, to be honest with you, but it's something that's I actually wrote about it in my journal when I first heard about it through Bashard many years ago. And I wrote, and I would have to find it in the book, but I wrote the 33rd parallel. There is an event for you guys. You can go to bashar.org and there is an event on his, and you have to purchase it. But actually you can even get the audio, you can get an audio version. It's very inexpensive, but anyway, you just look it up, do a search on in their stuff on 33rd parallel. But he talked about this several years ago, and I immediately felt this connection. 33, first of all, let me go back up for a second. Okay, there are parallel lines throughout that go around the globe, okay? Each one of them are numbered. The 33rd parallel runs at a specific place through the United States and then around the globe. So you can look this up to see where the 33rd parallel falls, wherever any of you are. For some reason, this was very, very powerfully synchronistic for me. And even right now, if I went to look at it, I think it may even come through maybe even where we are here. I'm not sure, but I got to go. I have to go look at that. So that's the first part about that, is it's a physical thing on Earth that we've used as a whatever marker for parallel lines, if you will, around the globe. But there's some, okay, so then there's also very specific energy, which I think if I'm not mistaken, the 33rd parallel also runs through the Bermuda Triangle. If I'm not mistaken, I would have to look at that. So, but nonetheless, along this 33rd parallel is supposedly, I believe, very, very, like I want to say maybe portals. I really don't want to say the wrong thing here because I'm kind of paraphrasing, but I would, okay, so I'm gonna let that go for a second. So the other part of this whole thing is the number 33 is extremely sacred to all of us for lots and lots of reasons. Now, there's a lot, so you can look into that because you'll see, and I don't know, forgive me, you guys, I don't know much about the Bible, but isn't there like 33, like, I don't know, parables or something, or 33 books, or I don't know, something like that. And then, or Psalms, or I forget what. Then there's also 33 vertebrae in our spines. 33 equals 6. And then there's the 369 energy. All of this is related vibrationally. 33, then there's the idea of 33 being a vibration of the crystalline consciousness, the Christ consciousness. There's more. If you guys, I encourage all of you, and I should look it up again too, because it's been so long, to look up what was I forget how I searched on it, but it was something about the meaning of 33 or something, significance of 33, something like that. And it is incredible, all of the breadcrumbs we've left for ourselves with the number 33. So if any of you guys have anything to share about that, please do, because there's a lot, but it's very specific about why humans, why we use that number in so many things, and why we have that many vertebrae, and why it's all related to all of this. And I wish I could remember more about it. And if I can find more notes in my book, I will. But
what about Willa?
Well, this is the other thing. I think thank you. I think Willa Hillichrising, which is a being that Daryl and Bashar channel. She is a being which I'm deeply connected to. 700 years, they call it upline, which would be in our future. So they are basically we are their ancestors. We're their family. We're their parents and grandparents. And so, but 700 years later. So, and what's funny is Willa, I think she talks about the 33rd parallel. And Willa actually in one of the channelings that Daryl just did recently, I'm trying to remember which one it was. Maybe it was, I think it was the one we just watched. Not the 5 hybrid races, but the 5 levels of mastery. She talks about Florida, being in Florida and desalinating the water and what it's like 700 years later. And so I think that it has something to do with this. I don't even remember that, Bree. That's funny that you even remembered it, but I think it does. I think that has something to do with her. And I think she talks about the 33rd parallel.
Isn't she a parallel reality specialist?
Yeah, she's a parallel reality specialist. And when I first heard this years ago, and actually this was on a channeling that Daryl Bashar had done, and it was a private session with somebody that's no longer on the internet, but he had channeled her for the very first time. And she talked about being a parallel reality specialist. And I knew right away, like, oh, I've been studying with her. And then she talked about pin charts, and she called them pin charts, parallel incarnation charts, where she can look at our parallel incarnations, the line, and see all of our connections. All of this stuff is weirdly all connected. It's funny you brought that up, Bree. So very interesting, because she teaches us how to look at these parallel incarnations, and then she can see us up and down line. And somehow I've just always felt deeply, deeply connected to her. And then Daryl wrote a book called Shards of the Shattered Mirror. I purchased it, have not read it yet. And it talks about Willa and her story and her reality. And so for anybody who, you can buy it on Amazon, and you can buy it through his, I think through bashar.org. And I think you might be able to buy it through his actual website, Zia Films, ZIA Films. Daryl actually is a filmmaker. Daryl Anka is a filmmaker also by trade and graphics. And he's done all kinds of awesome stuff for very famous movies. But anyway, so that's part of her story. Is she's a cryptic, and she talks about the 5 levels of mastery. That's another thing you can purchase on, which I purchased on Bashar too, about the 5 levels of mastery and taking us through. And then there's 5 more videos. Well, I don't know if they're all done yet, but she also then takes us through each level of mastery. So all of this.
What do you mean by that? What is mastery?
The levels of mastery are like, which it's really too big to get into right now. So I encourage you, if you're excited about it, to really explore it. But she talks about how, and it's funny because one of them is it's called a nocturnal. And what's interesting is how we've asked about the owl, and how being a nocturnal is one of the levels of mastery she talks about. And it's about being in touch with nature, about hearing, singing, talking to the trees, about listening, about hearing, talking to the elementals and the grass and the flowers and the trees, and seeing all of it. Everything that I've been talking about in my videos, you guys, for 5 years is everything she talks about. All of the 5 levels of mastery. This is how I know I've already been through the whole thing with her. And because it's everything she's talked about is stuff that I've from all of my videos. That has been almost like I've been in my own way, maybe helping everybody to teach everybody these levels of mastery about literally you can talk to this stuff, literally, and how light languages allows us to tap into the light code energy of a plant, a leaf, a blade of grass, a flower, a bird, a bird's feather, a stone, a seashell. Back. So does that help? I don't know, activate anything? Does it help answer anything? Or does it, or maybe just give you pause, give you reason to go investigate further?
Like I'd put before, I got guided to go to Liverpool today on train, and I bought a drink at train station, and it come to £3.69. So it's 369. So you mentioned that, and that was at 111 as well. But I'd been seeing 33, been seeing it quite a lot lately. What is a cryptic? What would you define?
Well, a cryptic is basically someone who has studied all of this, who has gone through all of and I always hear the word tutelage, meaning she's a teacher. We're teachers. We're the teachers of the teachers. And anybody who's been, oh, look, I even have, oh, I think I have my apple with me, you guys. My mom gave this to me. Love you, Mom, if you're watching. My beautiful golden apple, a and you know, you guys lately, just this last 2 days, Dave and I have been seeing hexagons everywhere. Hexagons everywhere. If any of you guys follow Doctor Who and you guys are in the UK, I'm telling you what, I've been a Doctor Who fan since like the very beginning. And if you look inside the TARDIS, time, which stands for time and relative dimensions in space, that was one of my first activations, to be honest with you guys, was Doctor Who. But anyway, the whole idea of hexagons, the bees create beehives, which are hexagon shaped. We've got the 33, the 6-sided energy. Something else I noticed, you guys, yesterday, which I can't believe I never noticed before. Dave and I, he bought a big Star of David to put on the wall. And if you look at the Merkaba, the 2 triangles inverted, the Star of David, in the center is a hexagon surrounded by 6 triangles. And it's a 6-sided star, guys, 666. The very thing we've been told to stay away from, and that's evil. No, it's not. It's divine. And not only that, 6 times 3 is 18, which equals 9, which is today's date. 9 equals received according to this. So you guys, we here are to receive this information and to know that each and every one of you are going through this transformational time, because each and every one of you, I will reiterate again and again and again, are teachers of teachers. So you can call, and thank you. Thank you for saying that, Lily. Yes, I know. I've always been a natural teacher, whether I wanted to be or not. But I will say to all of you, you cannot be in this room in this vibration if you weren't also. It's not physically possible. You are all in the same vibration, or you can't even be in this hangout, period. So each and every one of you in your very own way, no matter what, no matter how, you're walking out into the world in teaching something. Even if it's just being here and walking out into the world and not speaking light languages or doing anything spiritual at all you got to do is walk out into the world and be who you are, and you're activating people, period. That's how this is working. And this is what's going on right now as we raise our vibration and move into that multidimensional energy. And I'm telling you, this whole, I love this. I see you guys talking about Isis energy, and that card that I pulled today was about connecting with your angels and really all of this message, all of this has been about, and I'll show you guys my Isis journal again. This is the deck of cards I bought too. So I'm telling you guys, I love this thing. Goddess Isis journal, and then the deck by Alana Fairchild. I'm telling you guys, this is so freaking powerful. And I cannot wait to bring more of this to you guys and do more of these card readings. And so I'll let you guys know when I'm going to start doing these hangouts, these God and Goddess hangouts. They're going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to be doing a lot of God and Goddess readings. I encourage all of you to get your God and Goddess oracle cards ready. And we're really going to be taking this to a new level and really bringing these out, these permission slips, these talismans, these, bringing these physical relics to life, bringing them and activating this energy within us in a way that we never had before, because frankly, we've been too scared. And I'll tell you what, I had I had the absolute most incredible out-of-body experience yesterday that I'm still trying to make sense of it. And I have never experienced anything like that. And talk about literally moving through a time tunnel. I've never experienced anything like this before, moving through a portal like I did last night. I cannot tell you guys what doing all of this has activated for me just in the last few days, even since last Wednesday. So more and more about being your authentic self and letting yourself play, letting yourself be authentic, and letting yourself be passionate about your passion and whatever it is. because it's activating stuff within us. And even now, see, and this is the stuff we haven't really got into on Wednesdays because light languages is so big in itself. But even right here, I've got in front of me the Sacred Geometry Activation Oracle deck, because it's all of this is connected to all of this, all of it. It's connected to all of our lifelines and our timelines. And even Bashar will say, somebody will say in the audience, am I connected to Egypt? And he'll say, which one? Because we forget there's multiple versions of things. Each of them have their own things. Yes, they're all correct, but each are very different in some ways. But yet each of us are experiencing connections to all of these. Some are the same, some are not. So I don't know, you know, it's very interesting how all of this and the signs and symbols and pyramids and things that Bree and I've talked about and the beginnings of languages and us creating physical letters from a thought and a sound, and how she and I've talked about this from the beginning in Sanskrit and Hebrew. And then I meet Dave, and he's Jewish, and his father asked me the other day, oh, have you started teaching her how to write Hebrew yet? Well, the funny thing is he doesn't even know about me and speaking light languages and writing symbols and light languages. So isn't that funny? So, and how Bree and I've talked about from the beginning and have, you know, authors that we want to, you know, have a hangout with. Anita Meyer, where she talks about this stuff, about the beginning of languages and how we bring thought to form and form to language so I know this all gets really, really, really big, you guys, but I'm so excited about it all because again, we're one being having this, we're one beautiful apple with a whole bunch of sides, but we're still just one being. But we're trying to understand from this perspective what it's like from over here. You know, so that's kind of, you know, if that makes a little bit of sense. Yeah, anyway, I know I go off on this.
Well, that's a cool way to say it though. 'Cause really, I mean, we're all just fractals of light, right? And it's all the same light. I want to jump really quickly back to the conversation about the 33rd parallel because
go ahead.
I'm not sure if Becky wanted to say anything more about that, but Sarah wanted to add something, and then we can maybe move on to sharing some light languages. So
Sure.
If
Yeah,
you're
wherever
still
you
there, Sarah.
Hey, Sarah. Hi, Sarah.
Hi.
Hello. My first thought back was to ask you, if you don't mind, how old are you?
Me? Oh, 38.
13.
Ah, that equals 11.
I know, and my destiny's number 11 as well.
Well, there you go.
Okay. I wanted to expand on what Wendy has already said about the 33rd parallel. The 33rd parallel has a lot to do with just the number in and of itself, which she's already said. Some people have had Kundalini awakenings at 33. I am one of them. The 33rd parallel also allows for people to be able to connect to the multidimensional realms of reality around them if they wish to continue to do so.
Can you say that again? I just want to write it down, that bit.
It allows a person to connect to the multidimensional realms around them once they pass that 33 stage.
Oh, yeah.
Kundalini awakening.
I can relate to that.
They can have a spiritual awakening, whether it's Kundalini or not. And as Wendy says, they will begin to speak to the elements, to the different realms, to the different frequencies of sound within their DNA.
Oh, I'm really appreciating this. This makes a lot of sense. This is exactly what I needed to hear.
Well, that's why we're here.
It makes sense. It's adding into to what I was, when I said I painted a picture last night, I'll mention that when you've mentioned what you're mentioning.
Very good.
Excellent. Thank you, Sarah. I appreciate
I'm
that.
not done.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
You will begin to perceive yourself as you progress to be able to perceive reality in and outside of time. The cryptic is one who can speak to all dimensional realms.
That's true.
This includes every dimensional idea or level from one to all frequencies of time and dimension. This includes first and second dimensional understandings, such as your cartoon realm, written realm, spoken realm, physical realm, non-physical realm, and even towards the atomic level, the macro and the micro. All dimensions are included in this idea. All planets within the universe are included within this idea. This is what I am given to understand at this time.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you.
Wow. It's made me feel like I want to cry, that, honestly. Like,
Well, that's interesting because I was going through my book and I opened the first page I opened to, I didn't realize, and then Dave saw it. I actually opened to the page where I talked about Willa, and this was back in 2013. Well, that's interesting. This was about a comet that I watched in 2013 on my birthday. I just realized it. And listen, you guys, the comet was called Ison, I-S-O-N. This was a notation that I made. I watched the comet Ison burn across the sky in the early morning darkness, the moon bright yet no longer full. It will shine brightest on November 28th, 2013, which was my birthday at the time. Oh, and it was Thanksgiving Day. Well, when I moved here this past Thanksgiving, my birthday fell on Thanksgiving Day, you guys. So did it in 2013 when I wrote this. Okay, that's really interesting. And that, well, okay, yeah. And I said on Thanksgiving Day here in the USA, I wonder what's its tail will tell. Interesting. You know what? I think Bashar might have talked about that, about I wonder what tail its tail will tell. Or I can't. Okay, so then I wrote about Sagittarians ruling the Sagittarius rules future visions. I'm a Sagittarian. The number 13 in the sacred symbols from Sirius through Bashar is transform. So we talked about the butterfly earlier and transform. The number 13. So at that time when I wrote this, it says, oh, and I wrote a hexagon around the number 13, which is interesting that Dave just pointed out. And it said, and back in then it said, I wrote the year of transformation. I am transformed. I celebrate my transformation. That's what I wrote back then. Then the next page, hybrid being, Willa, 33rd parallel, Willa helichrysum. There's something I want to tell you guys. Helichrysum is an essential oil. Beck, if you want to connect with Willa, and this is the idea of the 33rd parallel, I would also suggest you buy a little bottle of helichrysum essential oil. It's very inexpensive and it doesn't have much of a smell. But the thing is that I remember at the time she said, you can use that and you can use that to connect with her. And also the willow tree, and it's 444 here, you guys, my time, 444. So you can connect with her with the willow tree, because she said, in your time, you also know me as Willow helichrysum. Helichrysum is the essential oil. So she said, in your time, you also know me as Willow helichrysum, but I am known in my time as Willa helichrysum. She said, I am a hybrid being. I'm elfish with golden yellow eyes, shoulder length, cinnamon rust color hair, rough fox-like hair.
Wendy, keep
Yes.
talking, but I'm going to screen share a few photos.
Oh, please do. Thank you. She says, I'm slender and female. Yep, there she is. And there's actually a different picture of her. There's another picture too of her, but that's, yes. And look, you guys, she's surrounded by foxes. The fox is the other way that she connects with me.
She's been coming through. I've been getting her through as soon as you said that, fox and Willow.
So yes, so I'm telling you, Beck, you and I are very, 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 very connected and very similar.
I saw a comment I put before was, when I was at train station, it come up on the screen, 13, 13, 13, 13.
That is crazy.
Wow.
Oh, no.
Oh, and then she says, she's mischievous in attitude and carriage. Well, that's me. Mixture of many things. Serious energy, including, here, I had to find this page. Including they are very unique in their society. Okay, wait, I wrote including unique in society. Oh, there are 33 of their kind. 33 cryptics, you guys. There's 33 of their kind, and they're all shapeshifters, which we talked about shapeshifters today. Shapeshifter cryptics in their own lexicon. So, oh, Alexa, stop.
Alexa.
Yeah.
This is the photo you were thinking about? The official one on his
Yes.
website.
There it is right there. See, you guys, there's the book, Daryl Anka, Shards of the Shattered Mirror, the one next to it, Willow Hills. See, that's the first picture I remember seeing, was the one with the pointed ears, but she looks more like the other one. She looks a little bit more like the other ones, but not quite as, yeah, she looks more like the ones that Vashta did, as opposed to, yes, as opposed to she said, my ears aren't quite as pointed as that other picture, that make her look really, really cryptic.
Sure.
From the hybrid children community. That's the one. Oh, that's from Bridget Nielsen.
This one, yeah.
Yeah, she was Bridget. Bridget was the one. You know, Bridget talks about this, you guys.
There's Bridget.
The hybridchildrencommunity.com, Bridget Nielsen. She also has a YouTube channel, you guys. She was critical in my I have a playlist to Bridget's stuff on my YouTube channel if you guys want to go to it, but otherwise you can find her, you know, on Hybrid Children. She was one of the ones who how I started to understand my own connection to the hybrid children, to Willa. She was part of that whole thing. And she talks about Willa, and she talks about Willa's world and how she took her there, and I've had the same thing where I've had Willa take me to her world. So excuse me, you guys. So that's interesting. that, well, thank you for finding that page. Well, what a coincidence.
It adds to a 6 as well. Year 2014. Or that's what I was going to say. 2013.
13.
Yeah.
And, oh, you know what? You guys remember when I was talking about, was that Friday or last Wednesday when I was talking about the 5 laws of creation and how there was originally only 4 and then they inserted everything is here and now into number 2. It actually, I wrote that also in 2013. On January 6th of 2013, the 5th law of creation was inserted as a subset of the 4 laws of creation. And the second one being everything is here and now. That's what they added. So, and then I wanted to read to you guys just really quick, the gamma frequency, just so you guys know, is 40 cycles per second. That is the channeling state, which expands your awareness to focus on using 100% of your brain. So we have to remember that we think we're only using a small part of our brain, but that's not true. We are so powerful. We are using 100% of our brain to have an experience that we're only using this much. And the gamma state of frequency helps you get in. That is the state of frequency of channeling for whoever needed to hear that.
May I add to that? It keeps
Yeah, go ahead.
telling me that for those who do sun gazing, the gamma frequency has a lot to do with the sun rays that are projected from the sun. If you sun gaze as the sun is rising or setting, you can help to jumpstart the information that is coming through the gamma frequencies of nature to your bodies. So you can help to jumpstart the process of channeling as well with those gamma frequencies that are projected from the sun itself. Yes.
Yes, and I concur. That's one of the first things that my guides told me when I started my light language channel. In my very first video, they said, we want you to speak light languages and we want you to be looking at the sun because there's light codes and information. And at that time, you guys, and I'm not telling you to do this and I'm not telling you not to, I'm telling you what they told me. Okay, I just want to make that very, very clear. They told me to stop wearing sunglasses.
Yes.
So I'm just saying. So I'm not telling you to do it or not. And let me repeat that. I'm saying that's what they told me. And it has to do with that and the light codes of the sun. And I do wear them once in a while, but as a rule, I typically don't, but I don't want to tell anybody to be looking at the sun. So disclaimer. So, but that's, I'm just saying. But that's a very important thing to bring up is because most of my beginning of my activations were because they said to me in my first year of videos, when I was not on camera, and they said to me, this is about you bringing in the light codes from the sun and the elements and alchemizing that with the light languages to help activate people. So, and that does also help to connect with that idea, all of these ideas. And it's funny because we even just bought incense and they're the sun. And I think HEM is the brand. And it's like, even those are very powerful. Incense is a very powerful tool for transporting people. And it's funny because we've been just reading about that and about incense and altars and the proper way to do it and store them and burn them. And incense, and how did they say that? Was that in the Bible? Where did we read that? Where it was like,
before prayer.
It was like something about it actually puts you into the frequency of like the God state. And I don't know if that applies to all incense, but it was something we read online about incense and about how, because they said, we were talking about the altar and about the altar being made of acacia wood. I'm just supposed to bring that up. And that it's in the Bible that the Ark of the Covenant is made of acacia wood covered in gold. So there was a reference that we were reading, and I can't remember where it was, so I can't give you the link right now, but they were talking about incense and how to store them and burn them on an altar made of acacia wood. So this is just something I'm sharing with you guys because this is something we're actively doing right now. And we've got acacia wood stuff all over the house now. So, and it just so happened, I already owned it. So did Dave. And now and so it's very interesting, but there's a reason why I was supposed to share all of that with all of you. So this is not by accident that we're having this conversation, because part of my message today was about these permission slips and talismans and actually using these intentions to activate these permission slips and objects, relics, and to encourage all of us to use them. Even if you're not buying them, looking at them online helps a lot. So it's and about the ceremony, about invoking, it's about the intention. It's about invoking a particular thing with a particular thing. Even if it's a rock you pick up or a penny off the ground, I can't tell you how many times Abraham Hicks, Esther Hicks channels Abraham, how many times I picked up a penny and saw a penny in the United States has a picture of Abraham Lincoln on it. And Abraham, I was like, I know that was a message for me. So all of this is assisting us. And they're showing me how more powerfully the overall human collective intention is when we put our intention so powerfully into these things and then actually do ceremony to invoke that idea. It's extremely powerful. And I see some questions and stuff. I just wanted to see what was, hey, Justin, how are you? Just looking at
he's talking
about moon gazing too has been very special. And yes, we do a lot of moon gazing, and you'll see a lot of my videos, you guys, over the last 5 years have been about sun gazing, moon gazing. You'll see a lot of light language activations in the moonlight, in the sunlight. And I wanted to say to Beck and all of you guys too, I'm wearing the Sasani Shikani contact crystal, contact specialist crystal. Also, you guys will see it's in a hexagon shape. Their family crest is actually, well, you can see it. You can purchase it on bashar.org. But I'm just listening to see what they were trying to tell me about this activation, about this idea for Beck and people specifically. It has to do with the Sirius energy and moon gazing, the moon. When I very first heard Bashar talk about Epsilon, Epiphany, and Eclipse, you can buy those videos too. They are the Oversoul collective energy. They are 3 crystal orbs that are their Oversoul energy that can maintain the balance of the planet Sasani, starts with an E, Shikani, Sasani. It's 2 different names because they used to be called Sasani and Sasani. Now they're called Shikani because they have raised their vibration and now are quasi-physical and and a higher spiritual dimension and a higher density now. And so they changed their name based upon their shift, where we too as a human collective will have a different name. And so anyway, that idea that their Oversoul collective energy, he said in those channelings, which I have connected with Epsilon, Epiphany, and Eclipse Oversoul energy of the Sasani, their translation of their planet is called the place of living light. Sasani means the place of living light. Sasani means the people of living light. So the race of living light. So Epsilon, Epiphany, and Eclipse are the Oversoul energy that are also beaming down higher dimensional energy through the moonlight, he said. And when we look at the moonlight, which I've shared in several videos of mine, they talk about how we are absorbing and emitting and transmitting and transferring back out also information back and forth from Sirius, because Sirius, being the brightest star we can see from the planet Earth, Sirius, and those helped us, that also helped us build the pyramids and create the template blueprint reality for the earth, along with the elements and elementals. This information is being transmitted through our moonlight, through Epsilon, Epiphany, and Eclipse, through the moonlight, and to open these portals of Sirius energy for higher dimensional frequential love, unconditional love energy. That was one of the first things I connected to and have been sharing ever since. And so when JC talked about just now in the live chat on YouTube about the moonlight, I was being reminded about that, how when we look at the moonlight, and we have to remember, you guys, the moon is nothing more than a reflection of the sun on the orb. That is the moon. So we're really looking at sunlight reflecting off of another celestial body, yet it's still sunlight, but it's being reflected off as moonlight. And there's a whole other story about the moon and how it got here and why and what its purpose is, which I don't have time for today. But that's part of all of this, is understanding how it really is sunlight being reflected off the moon, and the moon wasn't always here. And so there was a purpose behind it for very specific energy, which all of us are bringing forth now, especially when we take the time to do this, to do this intentionalization of sunlight and moonlight and bringing this higher dimensional energy in. So very interesting how one little thing.
So interesting. Yeah.
Can open up this whole thing, you guys. So
I love it, Wendy.
Oh, thank you.
Hold on.
Thank you,
Thanks, JC. We have Beverly raise her hand first.
Yeah, go ahead, Beverly. Go ahead.
Back after.
Good to see you again. Hi, how are you? Oh, she's up. Wait, she's muted.
I can unmute you, dear. Okay. Here you go. Okay, go ahead.
I was with you last week, but I've just been feeling so drained that I couldn't even lift a finger to press on anything, and I just fell asleep halfway through. The energies coming through have really taken it out of me, and we're very busy at work, so a combination of both. Severe headaches. Oh my God, Sunday night.
That's weird. I've had headaches this week too, and I told Dave I never get headaches, and I've had headaches this week. It's the weirdest thing.
I sat in the dark on Sunday night. I didn't know what to do with myself. I tried to sit on my head, sit on my side, lie down, and in the end, the whole side of my face went numb. And I says, "Oh well, if this is it, just do it quick because it's killing me." The Schumann resonance really high, really spiking again, and I think I must be quite susceptible to the changes because it really is having an adverse effect of me.
We all are. Bree talked about the Schumann resonance last week and how high it's been affecting us.
And a big time. Downloads, going back to the number 3, one of my downloads the other day, it was the best one I'd had visually, absolutely amazing. But I got the 3 in the background, but the figure that was coming through was 8.
Well,
that's a big 8.
8, and then the infinite, the symbol of 8, but very interesting because if you look at the 3 and you close it up, you get an 8. So
I've still had loads of vibrations through my body, and in this ear I keep hearing a humming.
Yes, we get lots of tones in our ears, really. Dave and I both do, and I've been getting them for years and years.
Well, I keep thinking, well, am I suffering from what do you call it? Tinnitus?
Yeah, tinnitus? No, these are actually us connecting and getting activated and connecting with our ships and our star friends and our star families and our higher dimensional selves. I can sometimes tell the difference. Sometimes they're in different ears. Sometimes I can tell the information. Sometimes I have no idea. I just go, I got a tone in my ear. I must be getting a download.
That's really weird because I get it in different ears.
Yes.
And sometimes when I'm at work, I'll be I don't know, just doing something very busy, and suddenly my ear will start ringing. And now I stop and look and think, it's like a little message to stop. Maybe stop overthinking, or stop, be in the moment rather than rushing. And I don't know. I'm just catching up with you all, really.
Oh, I wouldn't say that. I think we're all pretty much in the same boat here, because, nobody's really catching up to anybody. We're really just, and even like Bree said before, when I first started my channel, I may have appeared that I've been doing it for a while, but no, I hadn't. I just started. So we're all in, we may feel like we're all in different places, but we're all together in this right now. And what you're experiencing is the same thing many of us are experiencing. And I can sometimes tell the difference if it's like the Sasani are in my left ear, sometimes it's the angels in my right ear, sometimes it's something completely different. Sometimes I have no idea at all.
Yeah. And what you were saying about the moon and the sun, very true. I've always, since being a little girl, been attracted to the moon. I'm a Cancerian, I'm a water sign, so I go with the wanes and the tides. That's typical of me. But yeah, very, very attracted to the moon and the energy that it gives off.
So
Stop yawning.
many of us are. It's very interesting how we're talking, and I'm hearing again, Sirius, the Sirius star system, A, B, and C. For some reason today, it seems very, very prevalent with everybody in the room today. And I keep hearing that. And then people in the chat have been talking about Sirius and Sirius A. I feel very confident to say to you that is part of who's been connecting with you.
Serious.
Yes. And I wouldn't say it unless I really felt that I could say that, because I'm really careful about what I say. And so I feel that, and it would make a lot of sense, especially considering what we've all been experiencing lately. And the number 3 and the pyramid energy, the trinary, the whole idea of the trinary energy, that it doesn't matter what religion or what spiritual practice, the idea is operating from a place of integrity of the 3, the triangle of body, mind, and spirit. Call it whatever you want, but it's the same thing. And so whether you call it me, myself, and I, whether you call it Father, Son, Holy Ghost, whether you call it, it doesn't matter what you call it. We all have a different terminology, but it's all the same thing. It's like source and God, same thing. So that idea, this trinary trilogy energy, the trinary consciousness, and I have to say, the dolphin energy, you guys, is huge with the Sirius energy. So one of the things that I was guided to do also is, if you want to connect with the Sirius energy, start thinking about dolphins, thinking about the ocean, thinking about, we were joking the other day about the book Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, because the dolphin had that, and this is something they see, and now I'm getting a really weird rush right now. They were talking about, and something that I don't talk about very often, but once in a while I bring up, is Andromeda and Andromedan energy. And that is, and it's funny, Bree, because just now I'm hearing a lot of the things that I haven't heard in a long time. Fendorian, the Andorians, the Arcturians, it's like the things that the energies and entities and star systems that we haven't even thought about for a while are really present right now, like right now. So I have to say that a lot of the tones that you guys have been getting and I've been getting have a lot to do with that, have a lot to do with the Sirius energy, that this going further out because we're better antenna now. We're better antenna, we're better receiving and sending. Justin, JC made a good point too. And this could be possible for some of us. Sometimes you receive information. It's like you're sending and receiving. So you could be receiving information on one side and sending information, or so it kind of depends on each person. And again, nothing in reality has its own, we decide the meaning behind everything. So the meaning behind something, same thing for you and me, is going to be different. Same thing with the white butterfly. It can mean the same thing, but it could be something completely different. We assign the meaning to everything based upon our definition. If you don't have a definition about something, you cannot have an emotion about it. And if you don't have, you can't assign anything to it. So, but again, the idea right now is I'm feeling that each and every one of us have made some sort of a huge shift. And we talked a little bit earlier about skipping over process and how we used to have to go through these big, long processes. We're not doing that anymore. And we've been talking a lot about that lately here, and how not only as a human race, but Bashar said in the 5 hybrid races, we would actually jump all of those steps to create a whole new human species that took millennia. Now is not going to take millennia anymore, because we are better receivers and transmitters. So what you're doing in receiving is you are a better transmitter and a better receiver. Honor the tiredness, you're just integrating. So are we. And our sleep patterns change, our eat patterns change, everything changes. And sometimes we get so tired because we're literally having a 3-dimensional body reacting to multidimensional information, and you're integrating it. And we literally our bodies do get physically tired integrating all this.
It's hard when you've got to get up and go to work every day.
Well, exactly. And and we're up early every day just because of our circumstances. So I get it. And so we have the same experience where you have all this other stuff going on, yet you still have your life to live.
Mm.
And so how can we, I'm asking even now, and all of you, how can we, and we can use light languages for this. We can use light languages in our everyday life for these things. How can we use this and light languages and other things to help us through this process, where to either honor the tiredness or ask for the energy we need from this higher dimensional energy, because they don't understand what it's like to be 3D. They really don't. So sometimes we have to ask them, I need you guys' help to integrate this stuff, because my 3D body, and they know this anyway, but the idea is if we ask for it, it gives us permission to receive it. It's funny that today's number 9 is receive. So it gives us this opportunity to receive this higher dimensional support to get us through this, where we just feel like, oh my God, this is so overwhelming. And I've had situations where I've been standing there, and all of a sudden, or I was sitting the other morning, I was having breakfast, and I went into the channeling state, and it was the weirdest thing ever. I was sitting there holding a piece of food in my hand, and I was gone. So, and this has been happening more and more to me, where it's just bam, like that, I'm somewhere, or I'm having an information download, or but I've been extremely tired. So
I'd also like to add something to this about the higher frequencies coming in, and I have been sitting here yawning this whole time. I just all of a sudden I can't stop yawning over and over and over. In terms of the higher frequencies coming into the planet, right, and the Schumann resonance is rising exponentially. It started back in 1987, the harmonic convergence at 7.8 something hertz, the song of the earth, and now it keeps escalating. The frequencies going up, 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 and all of our frequencies of all life on earth has to go up with it, because that's how we're going to be able to continue to exist on this planet. And it naturally, so we're all getting uplifted, and it is creating our bodies to have to go through this integration period where we're having to literally integrate vibrationally to being in a higher frequency around us, and then come and expressing higher frequencies of ourselves. It's activating that within us to come out, but it also makes going through things, it can help us to shift through all of this stuff quicker. So in the past, maybe it would have taken like a year to process something that was really difficult for you to get through emotionally or whatever. And in these higher frequencies, it's becoming, that's accelerating as well. Our processing time, literally, as we are a reflection of the technology that we have, all this technology, the internet, that's all, you know, the astral network it's just showing us the technology that our bodies already have, which is the natural, organic, the human form that is so much more incredible than we've ever had any idea. So I just wanted to mention that quick about like us being able to get through things easier and shift quicker and not having so much of a daunting, you know, dragging our feet. And I'm not saying that's not going to happen, but things are becoming more kind of in the flow, and we can accelerate that by being in our own flow and not resisting everything that happens. Did you want to say something? Oh, Wendy, you're muted. I can't hear you.
Yeah, exactly. And that's exactly right, Bree. We're able, and this is exactly what they were saying earlier. And when we get these tones and errors and having all this stuff, that's exactly what it is we are able to accelerate the time in which we process information to where this stuff that we used to agonize over, or even just simple decisions in our lives, when we begin to understand, really believe that we are new every moment and that you can't get it wrong, and that you start to realize I can make a decision without agonizing over it because I can't get it wrong, because even if I make a decision and it turns out to be wrong, it's going to be right because it's going to show me what I want, what I need, even if it turns out to be something I didn't want. But we're able to move through that a lot faster and without fear. Well, go, you know what, if it does, I'm going to do it. If it doesn't work out, I won't do it again. If I like it, I will. If I don't, I don't. All this fear disappears about doing it wrong, about how, you know, getting through the processes. And we just don't have to do that anymore. We just don't. And a lot of times when we're going through these tired periods, once we move through that, whether it's a couple of days or a week or whatever it takes, we have this new, we really are new every moment, but we get this idea that we're shedding so much that we don't even realize how much we've let go of just in a week's time. We're talking, when we understand that right now changes the future and the past, and how we can recreate a situation from right now, then we can actually talk to our higher self, our future selves, our higher selves, ask them to tell me right now, in my now, everything's going to be okay. And in the same token, we can take our now and go back to our past selves, and which are not the same people. How do they say that? They are us, but we are not our past selves. We are a new version of ourselves, a different version of us. We can actually talk back and forth to versions because they're just other realities, they're just other parallel realities. Now, this goes into a whole different direction, but nonetheless, the idea is that we're able to accelerate through these processes. And even say, for example, we've got something that's holding us back. We haven't identified it. We don't know what it is yet. We don't need to identify it anymore. That's kind of what we're talking about. It's like, okay, I intend for this, or whatever the light language is, whatever. I intend for whatever this healing is, this raising of my vibration. I don't need to identify it. It's being illuminated for me. I don't need to consciously identify with it in order for it to be resolved anymore. I just have to know that it's done. And so there is this whole idea that we don't even need to necessarily identify anymore what's wrong. All we have to do is say, I wish to identify this without even my conscious thought. And I wish for myself to process through this, whatever may be holding myself back from becoming my most authentic self, whatever that may be. And I don't need to become aware of it and agonize it and analyze it anymore. I just need to know that it's going to be gone. It's going to be, there is nowhere for it to go. The idea is that I'm going to be able to process whatever this is that's preventing me from being my highest joyous vibrational self even if I don't know what it is. And then to look for the signs and the synchronicities and the symbols from my guides to know what to act upon and how to act upon it, and to not hesitate on on that action. The only time we typically hesitate, well, I hesitate on actions often myself, and it's sometimes the decision to not make a decision is the decision. And then of course we always find out the reason why we didn't make it. So again, I know that's really a convoluted way to even talk about all of this, but I just feel like they're talking for me. So I'm just going and saying what someone needs to hear, whether it's you personally, Beverly, or whether it's all of us or anyone in who will watch it now or later. And as you see, I talk a lot with my hands because they're always watching. And somehow this whole activation process with our hand movements also is a way of sending and receiving information to those who are see, now I'm starting to speak light languages, who don't even, you know, they're not even physical beings.
Wow.
Right.
Beck has had her hand up for a while.
Go
Beck,
ahead,
do you
Beck.
remember what you wanted to share?
Yes,
Beck?
you even remember now.
My arm's aching. I'm joking. Oh my word, there's about 500 things I want to ask, but I'm gonna mention this first, right? So I was laughing when you was about Sirius because your dog was barking, and it is the dog star, innit? So like I think he was getting a sign. Right. I'm not gonna say anything about this painting. I'm just gonna let you just see what you think. I'm hoping you can see it. Right. I received an activation in astral dream time, whatever you want to say, and it was extremely vivid. Like I felt like I was totally in the awake, aware, you know, like when it's one of those ones. But I only got guided to painting it yesterday.
Okay.
Right, I don't know if you can see. You're gonna
Oh my
let me
God!
know.
Look at the Sirius blue, you guys. Can you hold it up just a little?
Yeah.
I can't fit it all on, so I'm
Okay,
just
you're
gonna
good, right? You're good. I can see. We can see it all.
I've tried painting it.
Wow.
She spoke in semantics, so that's them circly things.
Yes, I see that.
Like her mouth was just moving, but like right, and that's me asleep. But I didn't paint him. He's turned up while it were drying. Can you see him?
Yes.
And then like there's a halo over it. But if you look near his eye, right now, a while ago, when I had this kind of remembrance of when I think it must have been when I come here, there was this big, massive, giant blue being who didn't want me to leave. And I think it's him. But he's like, honestly, I didn't paint that on it. It's just turned up. But and the blue flames.
Well, that's very, very interesting, because last night I had a major out-of-body experience, and I've never had anything quite like that. And it was interesting because I felt myself needing, like, oh my God, I need to come back. Like something wanted me to stay there. And it's interesting because what you painted is similar to what I saw, because what I saw was like the Isis with the wings out, and so it's interesting that you also painted a being that appears to have some form of like wings. And
she was very small. She was very, very small, and like it was like being at home. And it's like that's why you probably didn't want to come back. It's the feeling you get. It's the feeling of the oneness, and I totally get it. You can't describe it, can you? But it was like an invocation, like an attunement to these blue flames. What I had, like these flames were like massively going at me, and like she was speaking to me, but like you couldn't hear it, and it was like just like coming through like somatics, like, and I'm really drawn to it.
Because I told
The
last night too, that like that tunnel I was in, it felt like there was we use like flames, like orange and yellow and heat. It's funny, the shirt you have on too looks like water. It looks like waves, like dolphin waves. I'm like looking at your shirt going, well, that's a lot of serious energy going on with your shirt too.
It's a parrot.
Oh, that's funny.
And it was like, I keep getting avian through the past few days, but there's just been loads for what you said. With relation to vibration and things like that, we think that our thoughts are from our mind, but what I feel, what I've been sort of, because I use myself like a guinea pig, our memories are actually stored within our body. And it's like, do you know the memory foam mattresses?
Yeah, we have one.
So that's like our body. So if you imagine an impact of a trauma, if you've been in sort of, say, a relationship what's been pretty traumatic, if you imagine a mattress, a memory foam mattress, you can imagine what that'd do to a mattress if someone kept poking it all the time. That's what our bodies are like. So sometimes our bodies are the ones what's holding the trauma in, and that's why we keep bringing the experiences into our reality. It's not something you need to work out in your mind. It's physically working it out of the body. This is where it's taking a lot longer for me to move it out of my body than anything else. And then you can sort of get stuck in it sometimes. But what I've realized over the past few days is like cellulite. So it's as if the cell has died. So it's about lighting the cell up.
I've heard that before too. I've heard Lisa Transcendence Brown talk about that specifically.
And that's why the
coming into the
tell me to use the word illumination, because we're literally lighting up.
Yeah.
And when I see the cellulite, like I see it as the bees, the hexagon.
Yes.
I see it as the bee's nest. I actually think there's a lot more in cellulite than we realize, and it's actually holding space to hold more light. I feel there's something actually very sacred about cellulite. Like we're taught it's something that's negative as such, but it's actually a connective network of tissue that holds light. Wow. More so than anything, because if you think of water, we're made up of quite a lot of water. I don't know how much, and our water holds memory.
Yep.
And I feel there's something in the structure of the cellulite and the water flow and the memory of the water. There's something, I've not got to it yet, but there's something connecting with it all for me. Because water can get through anything, and it's a shapeshifter, in it. So I feel that there's a greater depth to that. And what I found myself doing last night when I was talking to someone was like I shapeshifted into being a plant. So I was feeling like I was a plant, and I was feeling like the inner structure of a plant. And I feel that there's a massive connection with the plant cells and the cellulite and the cytoplasm. So I've been doing a lot of paintings lately, and they've been quite interesting, and I feel they might be on this level, but I've not got everything through for them yet.
And the fact that we're going through photosynthesis too.
Yeah,
well,
photosynthesis.
Everything you're saying is what, as far as Willa is concerned, you're talking about is part of it. That is part of that learning, that schooling, that tutelage is what you just said. Everything that you just said is everything I've already experienced. So it's very interesting. Everything you say is everything I've already experienced, which is very strange for me. So, but you describe it in a way I've never described to anybody, which is very interesting that you're able to put it into words in ways that I've never been able to. So That's very important that you're being.
I feel it. So like I feel it at deep cellular level. So when the lady before, I'm really not great with names, so just excuse me with that.
Or Sarah.
The information that lady said before, like I can relate to every single part of that, but I can feel at deep cellular level what's going on in the body. Like I can feel the cells. I know exactly what's going on in cells. Like I managed to channel someone else who took a supplement, and I knew they took a supplement and it hadn't agreed with the body, and I knew exactly what was going on in the body.
Yep.
And what was being rejected within the body. They forgot they took it, but as soon as I mentioned it, they could then tune into it. But I feel there's a reason that I can do that, but it's not been made aware of. Initially, I thought it was for healing, but I don't even feel like it's that anymore.
Well, it's
everyone can heal themselves, can't they?
Very interesting that you're talking about this, and I don't. This is a very big subject. Can I talk to you after we go off the air?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Or I'll send you,
the other thing,
or I'll send you a message too, but because there's something I want to ask
I'm
you.
I'm not on Facebook anymore though, because I closed my account, because that was one thing. The energies, because of how the energies have been, I had to close my account.
I spend very, very, very little time on Facebook for the same reason.
It's been incredible. The difference from just closing that down has been ridiculous. So like I feel I'm mentioning that because there's someone else who needs to hear that what's on here.
Oh yes, a lot of people need to. Well,
the vibration, right? So what I was getting through is vibration and this tiredness we're getting, and certain things. When we're eating food and drink, and I'm specifically mentioning this because I feel that someone needs to hear this as well. When we're eating food and drink and we're going, oh, I'm not too sure if I want this, it's because the vibration of the food is not matching the vibration of you, and it is lowering your vibration. It's the same with people, what you're surrounding yourself with. If they're not a vibrational match, and you're eating that food or surrounding yourself constantly with vibrations that I started viewing it now as previous versions of myself. Like I love myself 8 years ago, but I could not hang out with myself now 8 years ago. We so wouldn't be on the same wavelength. But like I personally had been trying to be oneness and being nice and kind to everyone because I'm just like that, but not realizing that not everyone like, because I see people's higher selves, I don't tend to see them as the self. Not always, I'm not a saint, but like what I realized, especially from coming off Facebook, was I've been in my own vibration, but it's allowed me to tune in deeper with everything else that's around me. So things like food, drink, the vibration of your house, if there's any clutter in your house, because like there's stagnation where there's a lot of clutter, things like just even if you've come up on my screen, Beverly, so like even like your blanket, if it's like your snuggly blanket, sometimes it really needs saging and things like that, because if you're feeling quite tired and you everything's energy, we're putting that energy onto that, and then when we grab it, it's got that sort of that same feeling on it. So the hand movements and everything what you was talking about before, if you actually do the hand movements and extend them out, there's quite a few videos of me doing them on YouTube, and I call them movement fusions, and I'm running like lines down and sideways, and it's changing the energy format around me.
That's exactly what they showed me when I'm doing it, that I'm actually manipulating, moving energy. And if you could see it, you would see the colors and the energy moving with our hands, but we just can't see
my videos. Yeah, it sort of takes the pixels out so that it actually, you can't physically see the person. It's like they end up depixelated. I don't know, or pixelated. I don't really know about things like that. So they look like energy rather than a focused vision, but it's tubes of light. That's how I feel it is. it's like we're moving tubes of light and we're reorganizing. And it's like I always get this funny thought through, like, why do we bother redecorating our houses when we can just do this?
I'm one of these people who likes to move things around too. So, something that you brought up just now that prompted me to share with you guys, and I'll be really quick about it, but what you said about the cellular structure and food and vibration is things that we've talked about a little bit, or a lot actually in Wednesdays and on my videos. One of the things that I was explaining to someone recently was about how I'm guided to use particular things, foods, spices specifically for that individual by guidance because of their molecular structure, and how I'm guided to know, and I do this with my own body, what to eat and what to add to the food, because I know what they need in that particular moment, and it's down to the enzyme. So we were talking about that, about how it makes a difference, and how when you go with your guidance, and how we even talk about sometimes how for a week or two, like Beverly, you're talking about being tired. You know what? Sometimes we'll have times when we just want to eat junk food, or we've talked about this before, where we go through these phases. And so, but the point is, what you were talking about, the cellular structure and the water, it's like I see, how to explain it? It's almost like I see the cellular structure of the person, and then I see the matching structure of the food that needs to make the puzzle piece fit. I'm not sure if I'm even describing it right. So it's very interesting how we've talked about on this channel many times about food and frequency and color and vibration, and what color foods do I need to eat today? What kinds of, it's all related to all of that, all of it. And if we just ask ourselves what we need in a day, and sometimes the answer is nothing. Sometimes the answer is just water, or sometimes the answer could surprise us. And maybe it's against your current belief systems. Maybe you're on a particular diet and your body's telling you to do something that's against your current belief system. We need to honor that, because there's something you might need. So there may be somebody out there who's watching this or listening who's having this like inner dialogue with their bodies, or like they're like, oh, well, or their guides going, well, I don't normally eat that, and I have resistance about eating this thing that I don't want because it goes against my belief systems, but your body's telling you you need it. Well, you know what? If you need a donut, go eat it, because something you need is in there. So we need to honor that. So whether it's, and we take a lot of salt baths, so a lot of this, I go with what you're guided to do, because there's a reason for it, even if you don't understand it.
Yeah, it's interesting. I love hearing information about this. How the different types of energy streaming into the planet at different moments, which can change in each moment. Like there can be plasma in one moment, and then it can switch to crystalline energy in another moment. And that affects us in different ways. And each one of us, it's creating this new alchemy with our bodies. That energy plus our energy together makes a new thing. And so that fascinated me when I learned about our bodies craving, like what Wendy's talking about, our bodies craving, for instance, salt all of a sudden, and salty food. And it's because for our body to process the energy and integrate these higher frequencies, and for our light body to come more online and activate for more of our higher self, our soul, our true divine essence to come into our body, for us to be more enlightened in higher vibrations, we sometimes need specific things for that activation to occur, including specific types of foods, specific types of self-care. If all of a sudden you just feel like you have to take Epsom salt bath, then do it, because it's a reason. So this is like a really cool conversation, all getting down to self-care. And actually, Beck, I was listening to your video on your YouTube channel about the one you had posted recently about self-care and self-love, and you said something like, so I used to think that self-love was like taking 5 minutes out of the day to sit down and maybe put a face mask on, and that was self-love for you in the past, and now it's radically changing. And I think we can all take a look at that. And I thought it was a great video on your channel where you went through a whole lot of really beautiful stuff and sharing. And so this is all related to ultimately us stepping into the higher versions of ourselves, these higher frequencies. And so with that said, I think now's a good time for us to maybe transition. Let's maybe finish this conversation.
Yeah, this is a
move
good
to
time to
some
do
light
that.
languages, and
Yeah,
then
we
wrap
should
up
do
for
that.
today.
And there's not a lot of us in the room today, so that's nice. We could do some quick light language blessings and activations. I want to remind everybody, I know there's been a few people who have been asking a little bit about me and my services. The full sessions really can include everything from crystals to oracle card readings to channelings to light languages to everything, anything that comes up. I do symbols for people. I go into meditation. I write notes. I send pictures of all the notes. I create a video, a recording for people so that they can have their own recording to watch later. I do pre-recorded light language activation, like videos, audios. People who are already speaking light languages maybe are confused, don't know what they're saying, want to talk about it. We have consultations for that. So there's a little bit of everything for everybody with respect to what it is you might be looking for. And if there's something that doesn't fit, just let me know. But typically most of that would be encompassed in a full session, but they are broken up into very specific ones because some people don't care about like oracle card readings and stuff like that. They want to just talk about light languages. So there's a little bit for everybody. And so that's something that I'm really excited about, always have been excited about doing. So if there's something that you guys need help with, let me know. You can, find all that. I know Bree posted that earlier. So again, Beck, thank you too for your contributions, Beverly, Sarah, everyone everyone out there who's been asking questions, you guys in the YouTube chat, I really appreciate it. And there's so much information. And when I meet you guys and we share this stuff, it really reminds me and all of us that we're not alone. And it's amazing to me to hear you, especially Beck, articulating things that I've experienced and haven't been able to articulate. So, and also being that you're also creating the paintings and things. So, so I wanted to thank all of you guys for that and your contributions and receiving and sending this information and being open. And just know that Beverly, it's not going to last. We all go through this. There have been times when sometimes it'll last a day or two. Sometimes it's a lot longer. But it changes. And I wanted to reiterate what Beck was talking about too. We have to remember we're new every moment, but with that said, we're literally changing our molecular structure moment by moment, because we really are a new version of ourselves moment by moment. And if we can take that into, the physics standpoint and see it from everything is the same moment, all of us are experiencing the same moment from a different perspective. Just saying that activates something in your brain that may take a long time to understand and process, but the fact that you're even thinking about it creates a particular vibrational frequency. So I'm glad that you're out there putting that information out there about the videos, and that, like Bree was talking about how you're talking about how something that used to be considered self-love and nurturing, we realize these from a completely different level now. Not to say that sitting in the bathtub and putting on a face mask isn't a good idea, because it is. But we're understanding that nurturing is about other levels of nurturing, even if it means, doing something you never do, like calling in sick to work, or sleeping in the middle of the day, or not sleeping at all, or, all of this stuff changes. We change as we navigate through all of this stuff. So be kind to yourselves, be open to doing and being in ways that you haven't been before. Don't let it alarm you. There's nothing wrong. It will pass. I've been sharing a lot of this stuff for a lot of years about, and if maybe the videos will help people too. There's a lot of chakra activations, a lot of information out there that maybe the videos will help with. So there's a lot of info, and not just mine, other people's as well. So, but I encourage people to, if you're looking for, to step up your game, there's a lot of us out there, you know, helping do that. And I'm glad you said that too, Beck, about closing your Facebook account, because it's something that, a lot of people have talked about doing. A lot of people do it. And I've seen a lot of people in the spiritual world even say, I'm going offline for a while, you guys. So if you see me disappear, I got to do this. And I've done the same thing. And actually I have to say, even since I've made my own transformation and in the last couple of months and relocating, and I very rarely pick up my phone anymore unless it's private stuff. I'm not out there on Facebook anymore looking at stuff. I'm not, very little. It's something that we're often guided to do, is to completely disconnect. And I've done videos on this, you guys. I have a video out there called Disconnect to Reconnect. I think that's what it's called, something like that. So, but that's what exactly. Sometimes we just need to disconnect. And it's not the end of the world. So you say you close up your Facebook account, you can always open another one. So go with your guidance. And isn't it funny, Beck, how much more information you receive when you're not distracted by all that other stuff?
Definitely.
Yeah. It's
I've
crazy.
got to say something to you, because it's just, do you have a shamanic drum?
No, but you know, it's funny. I have a shamanic necklace. There's a drum here, and I just told Dave I wanted my own shamanic drum because I want to start doing light languages with the shaman. Bree knows I've been wanting one for years and years. So I just haven't done it yet.
Have you got one there though? Did you just say?
No, I don't.
Because like I just keep wanting SETI. I can see you singing and drumming, and even though you're not doing it, it's just
well,
like,
there we go. Because yeah, that's the shaman in me, and I've got a lot of videos, you guys out there too, about about shamanic energy and information. So you are already tapping into it. You and I are so much alike. Oh my God. Definitely shamanic energy. And if you
there's
think
actually
about
like some kind of like yodeling kind of sound going to be coming through, and it's going to be so unconventional what's going to come.
Well, that's
through.
what I've been telling Dave lately too. I was like, I think I got a lot of weird stuff that wants to come out that I haven't come out yet. I'm like, I don't know, not sure what to expect here, but so yeah, you're seeing my other timeline. So see,
Toning, Wendy.
yes, and toning.
No,
And
she says yodeling.
Oh,
That's what she
yodeling.
said.
I've never yodeled in my life.
Yodel.
She's talking about toning.
No, it's definitely yodeling. It's not toning.
Yodeling, definitely yodeling.
It's definitely yodeling. It's not toning. It's full on yodeling.
Yodeling.
Full on yodeling. I love it.
I can't wait. I can't wait to see what that.
I don't know how to yodel.
You come to see me, I want to hear you yodel.
Maybe you do and you can teach me.
Let's talk to the Hathors about yodeling. Maybe they have something to say.
Yeah, yodel. I don't know how to
Big ears.
yodel.
Ricola.
Hey, what do you call that? Your horn?
Oh, the chauffeur.
The chauffeur. He's got one of those. Whoo, it's really loud.
The Rams
Really loud. It's a Rams horn. It's loud.
Whoa.
Yeah, we totally got to hang back. You got to stay on after we go off live. Okay, you guys. Okay, so
Yeah, I have to get going.
thank you, everybody. We got to get going. I got to feed my dog. He's crazy starving, and he's got to go out. So let's just do some light languages really quick. Beck, go ahead. Do you want, and then Beverly, if you want to say or do anything next, please go ahead. And then we're just gonna give her, and Sarah, we'll just do our last quick messages, and then we'll send off for the day. So thank you guys all for being here again. Wow, I can't believe it. How long? I love you guys. Thanks so much for hanging out. All your messages. You guys are awesome. Thanks, JC, for coming by again. So good to see you all. Angela and Reiki Meet. Oh, you guys are so awesome. Love you guys so much. Mwah. So
Thank you.
Beck, go ahead and give us a message. And hey, if you want to try some yodeling, none of you
I don't even know how to yodel, but I can see you doing it with the drum, so it's unconventional.
That's unconventional yodeling with a drum.
I love
Yes,
it.
it is.
It's awesome. I think that's it.
Yeah, I felt it. I felt it at the very end. I was like, well, I got a lot of information out of that. So
I was seeing a lot of blue.
a lot of blue.
It was very much like cellophane, like a blue cellophane.
I kept seeing blue. I kept seeing blue as well, and I kept hearing and Sirius, and a lot of the stuff we talked about, Pleiadians, Andromedans, blue Pleiadians. There's
going to be helpful with the pineal gland and the headaches, that as well. Like, my face is on fire.
Yeah, and I got my chest area got really, my whole solar plexus got really warm too. So very well, actually all of me did all of a sudden.
I did.
Wow. Go ahead, Beverly.
You're all right. Okay.
How are you feeling?
A little tired.
Okay, well, let's all give energy. Let's all just kind of do some intentional sending Beverly some energy and love, and through her process here, and so that you feel better and energetic, but also allowing to, you know what? Don't fight your tired. Don't fight it. Just let it be. Let you be you and be tired and just be okay with it. Sometimes it's the resistance to being tired that makes us tired. So just be okay with being tired. Be okay with loving yourself and nurturing yourself in this way. So, so yeah, I'm going to send my own energy and light language blessings to you as well. So I'd ask everybody just to take a second to add Beverly into your intentions for your light languages to help her through this, because this is one of the things we as a community and we as a light language community do for each other, is we ask for help and then we also send each other help. Do not be afraid to ask for help. I am the first one to tell you, I always don't ask for help. So ask for help. Don't be afraid. Tell us, everything is not wine and roses when it comes to this stuff. Thank you for being honest. Thank you for saying, yes, I'm still tired, because this is part of what this is about, is being honest and authentic. And then those of us recognizing that and saying, let's us as a community help our light community get through this stuff. So whatever we can do to help you, I will put that in my own intentions, and I ask all of you to do the same so that she can feel this reflection in her own nurturing process, whether it's giving you the energy you need or giving you the permission to be tired. So whatever that is that you need, that's what my intention is for you. So thank you for that. And
Our
thank
intention.
our intention. Thank you.
Thank you.
All of our intention. So Nyala se te avasha te ale kisana se la viata vishino paliano. Mi aniata risha ti ileka samasali ashana te la miata liano pora shishita te ana melese. Si aniti ti amiata ravashano te leandor vakoshina se la ikiata. Mi halianda viata ri miasa se madakola ma angela kose. Elihima le avakoshana se ilahala kose. Elihita vishina se ilakua elishima se somoshe. And I was reminded just now for all of you and all of us that the Al Collective, El Liatovishina se, are with us all. We are their soul family. They are our family. We are the family and teachers of healers. We are the healers of healers and the teachers of teachers. And they are here with us to support us now and always. Zavashanatele, Shavashanatele, Intabakase, se intasan se te ilakosinate ilakayashana se. And I will remind you the very first entry in my journal is I, and then you insert your name, Wendy. I see and draw through divine love those beings who seek enlightenment through my process. The sharing will elevate us both now. That was channeled through Esther Abraham Hicks. Esther Hicks, she was channeling Theo, Theo, a being named Theo. This is something I repeat almost every single day that I remember to share when we're sharing our process, even if it is with those that, with whomever may be watching in that moment. When we share our process, everyone is learning from our process, and we are also receiving the support and love and guidance in return when we share our process, even if it's just out to the collective, in saying, in divine love, I seek and share with those who seek process, who seek assistance and enlightenment through my process. So thank you, Beverly, for sharing your process, because we all become enlightened by understanding that this is not always easy. Actually, being a light worker is probably the most challenging job any of us will ever have. And so this is why we chose this master's class, and you all are masters. And so thank you for that. So Bree and Sarah, if you'd like to leave us with final blessings. La fashanatela kisa metea. Sarah, if you want to go next, Bree, you can take it away and then just take us off the air. Thank you again, all of us, for being here. And anything else you want to share at the end too, Bree, please feel free. And again, thank you all for being here with me today, and Dave and all of us. And thank you for sharing your love and your heart. Thank you. Nyasoteshe. So go for it, Sarah, and then take it away. I know Bree's tired, so we're going to let her sleep. And thank you, Bree, for being authentic. Mwah. Go for it, Sarah. I love you guys out there.
Hear me?
Go ahead, Sarah. Yep.
Okay, good. Tradito karayeteio, harasiro tukairo tu ini, haraka anu karateina. Tusko anaire tuk anu ko aya. Sira tuko nio, roto ia harisi. Koya ya nira tukori rushukoya. Hasio rutuki, wayani iwaka. Saya tuku airo tu ainiriti koni urata anna ya sisiaha ko yeshura hilo tuku ole ya ti sila tuku mai taira hasuaka kaya si ukaya iniki iuye ni aya umayere te auro tu ahasya haruto umaishu hai aratisika nya yoya hi sani uti sinura ha kaya se ayuwa na yuku hai sina keiru tuku oshirata Mora te iuru so aya. Koisa. Koisiki iula ia. Haya muru tuku osha. Hanshanya ji suku anakia. Mora te ia sako aya. Hisia tiwaha. Karatsk iutuk enishkan anutuk ursk arsk. Karatsk utuk ishkorask. Murask iutuk kat isk atkutuk ursk arusk I. Korask irusk aprusk irusk imaminisk. Karatsk irusrask arrak. Korachisk arsk itkutukask anak. Korask iruk ursk arrask anishk arrak. Murask irukatisk aru. Korask anishk unsk irursk. Murask itukutukushu. Karask. Namaste.
Shatea, Nyatea, Namaste, Yauntia Sanatea Tadashi.
Felt some lion in there, I think, or some feline or something.
Yeah, some Syrian energy, baby.
Yeah, definitely.
Time, you guys, big time.
Mhm. Yeah, it was. I had a picture up here of the whales of Lemuria as all of this was being referenced earlier after Beck spoke light language, and then you were talking about seeing the color blue, both of you. I had this beautiful blue image on my screen of the whales of Lemuria that beautiful lady, Latina Russell in Australia, she channels and she talks about light language and everything. I've gotten to meet her recently, and she uses light language, and so that random synchronicity citations, I felt like I wanted to add that in there. It's really cool to see what other people are doing with all of this.
Excellent. Thank you, Bree. And there's been a lot of Lemurian energy around this house too. And so a lot. So there's a lot of that going on too.
Wow.
Yeah, we have a lot to do. We have a lot of exciting things coming up, you guys. And I'm really excited for all of you to join us in all of this. So go for it, Bree. Love you guys. Thank you. Thank you again, Bree, for being here today, for being a wonderful moderator as always. And just, I really appreciate it. So thank you, and leave us with some beautiful blessings, and she'll take us off the air. Thank you guys. Much love. Love you, Bree.
Did you want me to stay on?
Yeah, you stay. Yes, please do stay on, Beck.
You stay there. You stay right there.
Y'all can stay there, but we're gonna go off the air.
All right. Well, thank you. And thank you, Wendy. This is always such a pleasure. It's so much fun that we get to do this. And it is a huge honor and a blessing. And look at what we get to do. We're connecting with these amazing souls all over the world. And I'm feeling the love. As I'm feeling heat in my chest now as I talk about this. It's really, really exciting. And I don't think we always are able to see how cool it is, because living the earth life, and I gotta go take out the garbage, now I gotta clean the dishes, and sometimes it can just be like, there's so much to do in here, but this is all accelerating so freaking fast, and it's so much fun. So on that note, continuing with there being these incredibly exciting high vibrational energies we're moving through, and ups and downs and lefts and rights and barrel rolls, I will do a light language blessing for us to be in a state of ease and grace as much as possible with all the transitions we're all going through right now. Esh aonete karaesi mea ia nearatao Nde sha ute shote shoaya yosoe te dea uatea. Ua uatea yanuashi ayuana yashi. Tautor ea ane supua ai ara anana nayara te te. Yate sha ue ya Yahana yatata haya yahataya. Haya hate sho uaya. Yanaya, Yatao, Ote, Aya, Orohota, Onte, Sao Koshi, Yate, Sao Uana, Sao Uea, Au Aure Ena, Yasao, Iki, Yashi, Iki, Yasata, Yasao, Ushia, Yaha. Ne anenio hoa ote yua haya yanaya te ayataya hataya 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 ishata yeshu huashi mauru to shonono no ikiata nana yasai shi yoto eshi yoto haorehe yana hayara te sayoko iashe yata sohushi ya Aunese Yakao Hoteshi Yaso Hotaya Ndea Sande Sayasa. Thank you all. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for participating or watching these gatherings. Thank you for being on this earth plane reality we call reality together. It's amazing. And I want to remind you all that we do these Wednesday gatherings, Expressions in Light Languages, at 3:33 p.m. Eastern Time every Wednesday. You can find information on Wendy's blog on her website, languagesoflights.com. And you can also follow Wendy on her social media channels. She has Facebook, which we just talked about, but she is on Facebook. We post updates on there, and some of the other social media channels as well. So you can follow her and reach out. You know, she has services, and you know, we're all adding our personal experiences to this whole pot of like humanity's ascension and awakening together, and by us talking about it, we can continue to like make it okay to share, right? By us sharing our experiences, it helps others do the same. So with that said, I love you all, and we will see you next week on Wendy's show here on Languages of Lights YouTube. So see you then, everybody.
Guys, love you, Bree.
Love you. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.